Hi, I'm Dave Kesey, founder of the Innovation Leaders Club. In this video, we're going to do how to allocate resources into your innovation project portfolio review. So this is when you make decision about which project you're going to make. So most of the organizations should make a project decision once a year. Let's say you link this with the budget. There's some other organization that have to make those decisions twice a year, especially let's say if you're manufacturing product and they are related to a season, so you're making like the summer product decision, and then you're going to make 6 months later the development for the winter project. You don't necessarily have to do them all at the same time. But at one point during the year, you have to make a decision and getting all the different projects to compete against each other. This is really good practice. So from one of the past videos, we'll look at one of the first objectives for your innovation project portfolio review. It is to link your decision with the innovation strategy. So by selecting different buckets, which relates to your strategic arena, which are the area where you want to focus the innovation, which is key to be successful at innovation management, and then you group the different projects related to this strategic arena within that bucket. Then the second objective is to allocate resources, because you cannot have all resources working at the same thing. You want to make sure that you allocate, because you may have different market segment, you may have some different product lines, so you have to make sure you do allocation based on where you want to put emphasis in your strategy. So let's look at this objective number 2 for a project portfolio review. And I'll come back with the other 2 objectives. So ultimately, there are 4 objectives that we're going to cover through those videos. And in this video, we're going to look at the last 3. Let's have a look.
This video from the Innovation Leaders Club will explain how to allocate resources in an innovation project portfolio review. Learn how your innovation capacity can help you draw a line in your innovation project list. We have developed a 60-page visual guidebook on how to develop an innovation strategy. It is a fully illustrated step-by-step guide to building the foundation of an innovation system. Click the link in the description below to download it for free. Let's use the example of the furniture manufacturer. In this example, the manufacturer had a pool of resources of 10,000 hours which had been allocated to 4 strategic arenas, 1 focusing on a new e-commerce distribution channel, 2 focusing on products for the living and dining rooms, and 1 technology arena that is for the development of new textures. This manufacturer also had a bucket for other tactical projects unrelated to strategic arenas such as customer demand, product maintenance, etc. The product committee must agree on resource allocation for each strategic arena, thus deciding which strategic arena should be prioritized. Then the team evaluated the required effort to tackle all the opportunities in each strategic arena independently, leading to the cumulative effort needed to tackle the whole portfolio. Notice that there are way too many opportunities in the bedroom area, considering the total resources pool. Then the tough part begins. The team compared the allocated resources to the opportunity portfolio only to quickly realize that they have more opportunities than they have resources. Thankfully, with the prioritized project list and the cumulative effort, the team was able to rationally expose which project could be tackled and which one couldn't. The interesting discussion begins when one executive tried to push opportunity MN, so which other project was stopped? As you can see, with this approach, it is possible to have a rational discussion while selecting projects and making sure that innovation strategy is implemented.
Now that we have seen how to allocate resources depending on your different buckets related to where you want to focus your strategy, then it's really to look at what is the proper balancing you're looking at. Because obviously you cannot put all your eggs in the same basket. So you got to make sure it's well balanced. And this is exactly like if you would have a financial portfolio and you don't necessarily want to get all your money into the stock market. Maybe you want to get into a different other financial product. And maybe you want to be invested in different sectors, in different countries as well. Because when things are going bad, then at least you're more protected. But this is the same for innovation. So if you do invest all your innovation towards something very, very focused, ultimately you're taking some risk. For smaller organization and startup, it is normal to focus and to invest and not be diversified. But for more established organization, you got to make sure you're properly balanced. So let's have a look.
Let's discuss the process of obtaining proper balancing. The third objective of the portfolio review is to obtain proper balancing by verifying that the innovation portfolio complies with the strategic objectives. This is done through a bottom-up approach, which is accomplished by verifying that the potential business outcomes of the selected projects allow you to reach the strategic objectives. Then the portfolio is assessed to ensure that innovation projects are diversified by having a balance between short and long-term projects, as well as between different innovation types. To do so, the portfolio is viewed from different angles. The portfolio can be viewed from different angles using innovation types. In this example, the club member categorized its projects into 4 types. D stands for disruptive. These are innovations that will likely kill the previous generation of technology. Next, P stands for progressive. This addresses consumer needs better than the competition. A good example includes significant technology development. Then C stands for continuous. This is line extension or product improvement involving available technology or some required development. Lastly, T stands for tactical. This includes customer demands, operational optimization, etc. Then the club member could look at the following in the project spread: the number of projects per type, the resource allocation, and the incremental sales, NSV, first full years. The resource allocation can also be scrutinized by project types and market sectors. These pie charts point management towards strategic bucket thinking to make sure that decisions are in line with business objectives. Another way to look at the innovation portfolio is with a risk-reward chart known as the Project Portfolio Matrix. To build it, projects are plotted on a 2-dimensional risk and reward grid, where the risk or the probability of technical success is on the vertical axis and the reward is on the horizontal axis. The bubble sizes denote the resources committed to each project. Then the shading shows the stage in the firm's stage gate system, where the gray represents early-stage projects while the darker blue are projects in the later stage. Thus, a project can fall into one of 4 quadrants, namely starting from the bottom left and going clockwise. First, the white elephant projects. These have a low probability of technical success, and if successful, will produce a low return on the investment. These projects should be avoided, and you should direct resources toward more valuable opportunities. Next, the bread and butter projects have a relatively reasonable probability of success, but their potential value is quite low. These are usually low-hanging fruits or relatively simple innovations of the current offering. They help to sustain the current portfolio offering. You should limit the number of projects in this quadrant. Then the pearls projects have a reasonable probability of technical success and can land good returns. Pearls usually come from oysters that have matured over time, similar to a technology development process or a feasibility project. Unfortunately, not all oysters produce pearls. And lastly, the oyster projects. They usually rely on unproven technology. They have the potential to produce game changers but require front-end investment, such as technology development projects. This helps reduce the risk by improving how one masters technology. Once the technology is more mature, it can be embedded into an innovative development that will be commercialized. The project is probably no longer in the oyster quadrant and has moved into the pearls.
The last objective for innovation project portfolio review is to ensure that we do not necessarily activate our project at once. Let's say you have selected 10 projects for this year, you may not necessarily have all of them running in parallel. Or at least if you do start them, maybe you're going to start the first 2 or 3 projects to ensure that they're getting maximum speed. And then you will start activating number 4, number 5. And you may then realize that some of the project may take longer. And ultimately, project 9 and 10 that you wanted to do, but you will not be able to do because of lack of resources, because of the unexpected issues that came up. But at least you would accomplish the top priorities in your list. So having too many things in parallel is a real issue. The key question is how many project people can manage in parallel. And the optimal question, it is not necessarily after only one project, because sometimes you have downtime and you wait. So let's say if you have someone who's working full-time at innovating, there's a different optimal number. Maybe it's 2 or 3. There's some other organization that you develop something and then you have to send for validation and you may wait for multiple weeks. So having only 2 projects in parallel is not enough. You will have to have multiple. In some cases, I've seen people having 12, even 20 projects in parallel, but they were still performing because they were waiting for people. But let's say if you do not have to wait. What is the optimum number? Let's have a look. But be careful. It is not the number of projects in parallel that counts, but ultimately what you deliver at the end of the year. So to have multiple incomplete projects at the end of the year does not pay that much. So you got to make sure that you're looking at what's going to be completed. And so there are some good practices related to that. So let's have a look.
Now let's discuss how to establish an optimal number of projects. Finally, the 4th objective is managing project activation so that an optimal number of projects are undertaken simultaneously. This helps to ensure prioritized projects are done first and reduces the overwhelming feeling one might have when too many projects are conducted simultaneously. This graph depicts the establishment of an optimal number of projects. This is based on an IBM study on efficiency in product development. They realized that their engineers were more performant when they handled 2 projects simultaneously. Any more than that, and their effectiveness decreased. This is an interesting discussion to have and to put in perspective in your workplace. Here, IBM wasn't looking at project managers, but at team members delivering added value tasks in the project. How many projects do project managers run at a time? Based on a Project Management 2020 survey of 228 people, it shows that most project managers lead 2 to 5 projects simultaneously, reiterating the IBM study's conclusion. Then 15% manage only 1 project. 11% run 6 to 10 projects, while another 15% conduct more than 10 projects. Managing fewer projects at the same time should result in less downtime. Think of all the time it takes to get to something, concentrate, and be genuinely productive. Every time you change from one project to another, you lose that concentration. The table on the left illustrates the downtime in gray, accumulating every time you manage an additional project. On the right, you can visualize the inefficiency accumulating due to the downtime when alternating between 3 projects instead of prioritizing only one project 100% of the time. In the end, it results in significant efficiency gain up to 40%, considering a 20% downtime between projects. The efficiency gain depends on the downtime, which can vary from one project or person to another. While working on multiple projects at the same time can be perceived that the organization is more efficient as things seem to be moving faster, but it could be just an illusion. Alternatively, prioritizing and focusing on fewer projects simultaneously increases the organization's efficiency. This graph depicts the establishment of an optimal number of projects. It is based on an IBM study on efficiency in product development. They realized that their engineers were more efficient when they handled only 2 projects simultaneously. Any more than that, their effectiveness decreased. Indeed, this is an interesting discussion to have and put in perspective in your workplace. Here, IBM was not looking at project managers, but at team members who are delivering added value tasks in the project. Here is an example of activating specific projects in your portfolio while others are in queue. You can reuse the prioritization made for the portfolio review, which was a score of 60 based on multiple criteria to rank the projects. This prioritization is best when conducted per strategic arena, since you can go back to prioritizing the opportunities. This mapping can be used to prioritize opportunities per strategic arena, since you can compare apples with apples. Then you can segment it into 5 priority levels so that you can better manage projects to activate them. Such an approach allows you to manage a large number of opportunities, and it indicates where your team should focus its efforts. For example, there should be less than 10% of opportunities in priority 1. When there is an opportunity in priority 1, all other efforts should be put on hold so that the whole team focuses on this specific opportunity. Priority 2 should comprise about 20% of opportunities. The majority of opportunities, roughly 40%, will fall under priority 3, where priorities 4 and 5 will account for about 20% and 10% of the opportunities, respectively. It's worth noting that most of the time, these will be rejected. Ultimately, based on the optimal number of projects your team can handle, you can determine which project will be activated while others will be queued. When one project is completed, your team can move on to the next highest priority project with the available resources.
Now that you have seen the last 3 objectives of innovation portfolio review, the first one was to link with the innovation strategy, and this one is covered in the different videos. And the last 3 were to ensure that you do a proper allocation. Third, you balance, and ultimately, fourth, you select or you activate a proper number of projects based on the resources you have, and to ensure that people stay focused on fewer things for efficiency. So applying this ultimately will get you be better at executing innovation.
If you haven't already done so, you can get your hands on our popular 60-page visual guidebook for free. Click the link in the description below. Don't hesitate to watch the next video to learn even more about innovation management practices.